Hey gaming crew, how's it going? Today we're doing another unboxing of a Kickstarter game that I backed. It is Star Realms Frontiers. Let's see what's inside. So this is Star Realms Frontiers. That is the next big expansion to the Star Realms franchise, and it includes a whole bunch of stuff. I backed a big kit and caboodle going on here, and I'm going to unbox all of it today. This is going to be a rather lengthy video. So just so you know, I backed this with my own funds. It was not given to me as a gift. It was not given to me for review, and all the opinions and views on this product are my own. Additionally, this video was not reviewed before it was uploaded. So let's go ahead and crack open the main box. Some of the big changes that they made with the game is there are now official multiplayer rules. Where is it? Right here. You'll see down here that it is for 1 to 4 players. Star Realms is traditionally a 2-player game, but they have rejiggered the rules to make it a 1 to 4 player game directly. So we're going to have to take a look at those rules, and perhaps I'll do a comparison at some point. But the number of cards that this game has, it doesn't rival Magic in any stretch of the imagination, but there's a lot of stuff in here. So let's see. Here are the rules. Star Realms Frontiers, and it's a standard book. It's not one of the little folded up ones that came with the tuck box version of the game. And of course it tells you how to keep score, the ships, abilities, ally stuff, scrap abilities. Everything that you know from Star Realms is present. The only different thing is there are now formats. You can see there's a standard, there's a for 2 players, a free-for-all for 1 to 4 players, Hunter for 1 to 4 players, I think it's like 3 to 4. Oh, nope, Hunter's 3 to 6. And free-for-all is 3 to 6. Wow. So there's 2-player, there's free-for-all for 3 to 6, Hunter 3 to 6, Hunter First Blood, Hydra 4 or 6. Okay, so Hydra is a lot like Two-Headed Giant in Magic the Gathering. There's Two-Headed Hydra for 4 players and Three-Headed Hydra for 6 players. There's also Emperor, which is for 6 players. And there's Raid for 3 to 6 players, and it shows that there are raiders and bosses. There are solo challenges, solo or cooperative challenges. There are difficulty layers. There's mulliganing, boss attacks, automaton, and there's a setup challenge. These are Blob Assault, Dimensional Horror, Madness of the Machine, Nemesis Beast. These are all the different solo and co-op challenges you can go through. There's also Pirates of the Dark Star, and Defy the Empire, and The Cost of Freedom. And finally, we have histories. I think that's part of, yep. These are just histories for the different factions of Trade Federation, Star Empire, Blob, and Machine Cult. And on the back are credits. Inside the box, we also have oversized cards. And these are all the challenge cards. And they are not in shrink. They're in a nice Ziploc baggie. Let's see here. So yeah, there's one for each, and the front has a picture and what the challenge does when it draws cards from the deck. And on the back are the full instructions, the rules for each of the different challenges. Now these cards, they look to be, yep, 120 by 80. Yeah, 120 by 80. So these are some big cards, and you'll need sleeves for them. I will have sleeve recommendations down below in the description. So they are 80 by 120. Next, we have a standard shipping insert, and we've got 2 decks of cards, and they are happily, cards that have the string or the wrapper opener on them. So there we go, put that there. And they're just as you'd expect. They're pretty good quality cards. They don't really bend all that well. They're not easily bent. They spring back pretty quickly. They're nice and thick. And we have Blob here. And I'll show you, man, the Blob Burrower, 5 damage and draw a card for 3. Yeesh. We got a couple of those. We've got the Crusher, which is for 3 you get 6 damage and 2 monies. And then we have some Blob bases. There's the Hive Queen. Oh, let's take a look at the Hive Queen. 7, do 7 damage and draw a card. Ally ability is 3, and I think that's a double ally. You have to have 2 allies of the Blob faction to get that second one. Whoop, upside down, there we go. And then there we've got an Infested Moon, which is a standard base. Draw a card in 4. We've got a Moonworm, Moonworm hatchling, and it decided to hatch and run away. So we've got 3 money or destroy a target base, and then 3 damage and 3 damage. Another hatchling. That's a nesting ground. So we're going through these really quickly. You're going to see them. You can pause the video at any time to read what you want. Okay, normal. Stinger. There are multiple cards, of course, because these are easy ones to deal with. The Swarm Cluster. There's some really good bases in here. Now we're in Machine Cult. And we've got a Builder Bot, another Builder Bot. Oh, the Conversion Yard is a good one. You may swap a card in your hand. If you do, you may scrap a card in your hand. You gain 4. Oh, the Destroy Bot is nice. You may scrap a card in your discard pile, and it does 5 damage. The Enforcer Mech, oh, that looks really nice. Scrap it to draw a card, destroy target base with an ally ability, and you may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile for 5. That's not too bad. Integration Port, it's an outpost, that's 5 for 3. That's not shabby at all. And there are a couple of those. Here we go. Nanobot Swarm. For 8, you get 5. Draw 2 cards. You may scrap up to 2 cards in your hand and or discard pile. So it's a May ability. So you can get card advantage big time. There's the Neural Nexus. Scrap a card in your hand or discard pile and gain damage equal to its cost. And then draw a card. You may scrap a card in your hand with the Plasma Bot. The Reclamation Station is pretty nice. Scrap a card in your discard pile. Gain damage for each of your cards that you scrapped this turn, including this one. Then we have a Repair Mech. 3, or put a base from your discard pile on top of your deck. You may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile as the allied ability. There's a couple of those. Now we're on to the Star Empire. And there's Captured Outpost, draw a card, then discard a card. Hand management big time from these guys, and there's a couple of them. Then target opponent discards a card with the Cargo Craft. We have another Cargo Craft. There's the Farm Ship. 3 and draw a card, then discard a card. Scrap for 4 damage. A Frontier Hawk. Again, another 1 casting cost that does 3 damage. Draw a card, then discard a card. That is pretty slick. The Star Empire has always had little awesome ships like that. Now we have the Hammerhead. 3, draw a card. Target opponent discards a card. Draw a card, then discard a card for an ally ability. The Imperial Flagship. Oof. For 8, you do 7 damage and draw 2 cards. Then target player discards a card with the ally ability. These are some scary cards. Then you have Jamming Station, where the target opponent discards a card. Now you notice it says target opponent instead of opponent. That's because it's available in multiplayer. We have a Light Cruiser. 4, target opponent discards a card, and Ally is 2, and double ally equals draw a card. We have an orbital gun platform that does 3 damage. It's an outpost of 4. Oh, that's nice. Warp Gate Cruiser. Discard any number of cards and gain damage for each. Draw a card, and then draw a card again. Alright, now we're hitting Federation. And we're running out of Federation space. So, we're running out of card space because we got another deck to open. So there we go, the battleship. Oh man. 5 and 5, draw a card and destroy target base, and then get 10 authority when you scrap it. That is awesome. A Federation Cruiser, where you're doing up to 7 damage and gaining up to 6 authority. Authority is life, if you don't know. Frontier Runner, 2 and 2 life. These are really nice cards. These seem to be a little bit, the power creep that you get from later sets, like in D&D and Magic and all that, looks like they've gone into Star Realms as well a little bit. So there's the Orbital Shuttle, 3. If you have 2 or more bases in play, gain 4 authority and draw a card. So you're getting some life and some card draws. And the Gate Ship. Acquire a ship or base of cost 6 or less for free and put it on top of your deck. And it costs 5 authority. Holy moly moly. So there's the Ion Station, pretty basic stuff. If you got, I believe, double ally, then you get 4 authority, 4 life, and 4 damage. Whew. And then we have a Long Hauler, which is 3 and 2 monies. This is the money faction, and they tend to get things for free and give you money to buy stuff. This is gain 2 authority. Is that 2 authority? Yep. Gain 2 authority and draw a card. At the end of turn, move Mobile Market from the scrap heap to your discard pile. Oh, that is nice. You scrap the card to get stuff, and you get money, and it's an outpost. But you have to scrap it. If it's damaged, then you can't. If it's destroyed by your opponent, you can't do it. But if you scrap it, you get the bonuses and put it in your discard pile. And we have 2 of those guys. So that's pack 1. Pack 2 is right here. Okay, so we've got life stuff here. But we're going to go through the rest of the Federation ships here. So we've got orbital shuttle. I don't know why I can't speak today. And then we've got some outland stations, and you can see 1 or 3, and then draw a card. This is really good life gain stuff going on. Oh, there we go. And then a patrol boat with 4 damage and 3 life, and then another 2. By the way, you might see text down at the bottom. That's just flavor text. And then we've got Transit Nexus, 3 damage, 4 money, and 5 life. It's also a base that is 6 damage. Needs to go towards it. So then we have Explorers, 2 money for 2, and then you scrap it for 2. So it's a great way to get some, for 2 damage, it's a great way to get some extra money, and it's a little upgrade over your scouts, which I'm going to show you next. And the scouts are just your standard scouts, and they're all exactly the same, and there's enough here for 4 players. So here we are. These are your basic starting money makers. And then we have Vipers. Here we go. The Viper is coming. And this is your standard damage. And then we have our life totals. So if you take a look at these, and they're all the same, just different colors. And there's 4 of them. So I'm just going to show you the green because, well, that's my favorite color. I'm going to use the green. And then you have these guys here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the green as well. So what it is, you'll see along the outside here, you've got 0, and then 10, and then 20, and 30. And then you flip it over, and you've got 40, 50, 60, and 70. And the way you track that down is, say you have 25. So there you go. You got 25 life. You gain 10 life. So we're going to put this here, and you now have 35. So somebody just damaged you quite a bit. you're going to go down to say, oops, wrong way, there you go, 2 life. So what you do is you cover up the life totals that you are not. You could also probably do it like this and say, hey, I've got 2 life left, without being confused or something like that. Personally, I don't use these. I use 10-sided dice. That's the easiest way to do it. And that is the base box of Star Realms Frontiers. That's it, right there. Now there are other things, a lot of other things. Like Hero Realms, there are special packs. These are called command decks. So we have the Union, Stellar Allies is a different thing. The Union, the Coalition, the Unity, the Alliance, the Alignment, Lost Fleet, and the Pact. These are all special starter decks that you can use instead of the basic. And they will allow you to do some really fun stuff. Let me get the knife of face maiming so I can open these and still use them. Now, how does that happen, you may ask? Well, let me get this open. This is a tip. If you get a pack like this for a non-collectible card game, for instance, you can always get the cards out of the bag if they want to come out. There we go. And then you can take the wrapper itself and use it as a divider in the box. So if you use a card box, and I'll show you one here in a bit, you can now differentiate all the different sets, all the different command decks from each other by using these wrappers, whether the cards are sleeved or not. Now, the Coalition. You notice that the Pact, it is green and blue. Now, there are 2 factions. There are the Blob, which are green, and Federation, which are blue. And there you go. You're going to have cards like the Cluster Scout. And then you're going to have the Diplomatic Shuttle. And pretty soon you're going to see something that has... You notice they don't have any factions up at the top. The Diplomatic Shuttle does, but the Cluster Scout doesn't. Well... The Escort Viper doesn't, but it's got some faction abilities. Sort of like the Mercenaries promo. So there we go. There's the Frontier Tug that gives you money. And then we have the Ranger. No faction whatsoever. And you'll notice that there's a command deck symbol down at the bottom to tell you which command deck it goes in. I believe this is that. Oh, and... You could have seen on the bottom, right above the Pact, it's got the Blob and the Federation and the new symbol, which is a blob surrounded by the Federation. So, this is interesting. Now, there's the Ripper that gives you combat, and then a normal scout, scout, and a Swarmling. And a Viper. Oh, Newberg's game. This is a gambit. And when you scrap it, you get 3 damage, 4 authority. You get Blob and Frontier Trade Federation allied kickoffs, and then draw a card. And then here's the information for the Pact command deck. And this is part 1 of 3 rules. Here's the second one. Pact Domination, a gambit. Each turn, the first time you gain authority, also gain 3 damage. And then on the back it shows you more of that. And then, oh, look at that. Overlord Newberg, Legendary Commander. It means your hand size is 6 cards. You have 66 authority. And he's both Blob and Federation. And then that's the last instructions. Then we have a new life total card, and we have a super carrier, which is an extra special Pact card, and then we have Newberg as the health card. Now this is actually pretty neat. I like this. I might use this right here and just put my D10s on top of that when I'm playing the game, but that is really, really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in its pack, because right now I need to keep the stuff clear. And let's open up Lost Fleet. Now it's not showing any factions. Let's see what it is. Yeah, I knew that would happen. There's a card. I didn't want to cut the card as I cut it open with my knife of face maiming. There we go. This time it went clear through, and I can just pop these guys out. So this is the Lost Fleet. Let's see what these are. As I thought, there's probably going to be a lot of non-faction cards in here. And that's probably a Lost Fleet symbol. We'll find out. So there's the Assault Shard, Assault Shard, Assault Shard, and Command Shard. You may treat this card as having any name when using, I guess that's a Lost Fleet ability. Another Command Shard. Oh, a Recon Shard. And you get 5 authority. Another Recon Shard. Recon Shard. A Salvage Shard. And you're getting a lot of stuff. You're getting authority, you're getting money, you're getting scrap abilities. Transport Shard. Draw a card, then discard a card. You're getting card draw. So it's a little bit of every faction. Just not super powerful. Another Transport Shard. And then we have Splinter Tech. Whenever you use, we'll call it Lost Fleet ability, choose a faction. Yukon is having a card of that faction in play this turn. Nice. And then on the back, you've got the rules, and there are only 2 rules. And then here's Jokum's Grand Design Gambit. And you scrap this card to get all of the faction ally abilities, then put a card from your discard pile into your hand. That is powerful. And then here is the commander. He was actually someone who backed to have his face put on a card, I believe. This is High Admiral Jokum, or Jokum, legendary commander. 7 hand limit, 7 cards in his hand, and 72 life. That is scary. The Lost Dreadnought, which is a what ship? An unaligned ship. So this is fully unaligned. So 7, draw 2 cards. Lost Dreadnought has all factions. Wowzers. And then here's his life total stuff. Just like that. That is a pretty nice faction. A nice command deck. Now, when I say command deck, the first thing I think of is Magic the Gathering Commander. And this is definitely a way to play something similar to Commander. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and grab the alignment, which is Star Empire and Machine Cult. Let's see here. Open this guy up. My desk is so old. It is silly. So let's get this out of here. By the way, if you don't know already, the game is available in the Apple App Store and Google Play and on Steam. So you can play this digitally as well as physically. But I don't know if they have Frontiers in the set yet. It's been a long time since I've opened up the digital. So here we are. We've got the Imperial Viper. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. 1 damage. Oh boy. This is a mech battleship. You may scrap up to 2 cards from your hand and or discard pile. Draw cards equal to the number of cards scrapped this way. Then discard an equal number of cards. Talk about ripping through your deck. Money or combat. And you'll notice that these don't have a purchase price. That's because they are a starting deck. Then we have a salvage drone, and we have scout. 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 bot, which is a money, and then choose a card of cost 2 or less in your discard pile, put it on top of your deck. So you're getting some recycling going on. And then we have Stellar Falcon, 2 damage, and target opponent discards a card. This is, and then we got a Viper. Then we have a Welder Drone, 2 money or 2 damage. And that is just regular stuff. Here is a Gambit. Les Foray. You may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile. If you do, draw a card. And this is give you both ally capabilities. Alignment, Ingenuity. Whenever you use a scrap ability of a ship or base, you may draw a card, then discard a card. So these Gambits sit out and play. This one is a permanent ability, and this one here is a scrap ability. And if you look on the back, you'll see that it's got a description of what the card does. So they're the rules. And then here is Divine Admiral Lay, or Lee, we could say. 6 cards in hand, 64 authority. And then some awesome stuff. Oh, Imperial Talon. 2 damage, 2 damage. Without having to pay it. It starts in your deck. And then here's the regular game card. These are some pretty fun things. This is going to change Star Realms tremendously. A lot like the class decks did for Hero Realms. I don't know many people who play the base Hero Realms if they've got the class decks. So here we are. We've got the Alliance, which is the Star Empire and the Trade Federation. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. There we go. Get these guys out of here, and of course everything is coming out different. There we go. These are kind of tight, so let's see here. We have a cargo boat, 2 money, 2 authority. We've got diplomatic shuttle, 1 money or 5 authority. Federation Scout, 1 money, and the next Federation card you acquire this turn costs 1 money less. Then the Imperial Viper, which is 1 damage, and you may discard a card if you do draw a card. The Ranger, 1 money or 2 damage. Scout, and let's get through the Scouts. Then we have a Stellar Falcon, which is 2 damage, and target opponent discards a card. A Tribute Transport, 2 money, or draw a card, then discard a card. And then Vipers, how many do we have? We've got 1. Then the Gambits. We have Nandi's Onslaught. Draw 2 cards, then you and each opponent discard a card. Then the Alliance Procurement. Once each turn, you may gain 2 monies, or put the next ship or base you acquire on top of your deck. And then here is Fleet Director Nandi. You get a hand of 5, 68 authority. And then, of course, each of the heroes has information on the back. This is like your commander from Magic Commander. And then we have the life card, and then we have the Super Freighter. So this is a faction for both Federation and Star Empire. And you get 4 money, then draw 2 cards. And if you have either Federation or Star Empire out, you draw a card. I believe that's what that means. And then here's a bigger picture of Gandhi. Okay, so the next one we have is the Unity, which is Machine Cult and Blob. Now that sounds like a very scary combination. And the Unity makes me think of the Borg. The Borg made up of gelatinous cubes. Alright. So let's see here. We have a Cluster Viper. 2 damage and 1 damage. And then a Laser Drone. 2 and 2. Oof. And I'm glad I looked that up because that's 2 cards of the Machine Cult faction is needed. Then we have the Protopod. 2 monies and 1 damage. A Ranger. 1 or 2. And then we get Scouts. There's 2, 3, 4 Scouts. And a Scout Bot, which is money, or choose a card of cost 2 or less in your discard pile and put it on top of your deck. The Swarmling, which is 2 damage, and 1 damage. You may scrap a card in the trade row. Then we have a Viper, and then a Welder Drone, 2 money or 2 damage. And Walsh's Stratagem. Scrap it for 2 money and ally abilities. Put the next base you acquire this turn directly into play. Not bad. And then Unity Warcraft. Your target gets... your bases get +1 armor. Your opponent's bases get -1 armor. And it works on both regular bases and outposts. That is nice. And here's Biolord Walsh. Yeah, like I thought, it was a Borg-like thing. You get a hand of 6 and 70 life, 70 authority, and then there's a life action. Oh, and there's the Mech Worm. You may scrap up to 2 cards from your hand and or discard pile. Gain combat for each card scrapped in this way, and then draw a card. All gain 4 combat. Let's see if we can do that. I think my thumb's in the way. There we go. Well, take my word for it. It's 4 combat for each card. And then here's the bigger picture of him. Wowzers, these things are getting really, really, really awesome. And imagine if you randomly chose a starting deck instead of just choosing it. That would be really cool. We have 2 more command decks left. The first one is the Coalition, which is Trade Federation and Machine Cult. I guess the designers thought, what would happen if these 2 were either conquered or by the Machine Cult, or they made a truce or something along those lines, or became allies. It's a really cool idea, and I'm glad they did it. Alright. So here we go. We have a cargo boat, which is Trade Federation. It's 2 money, 2 authority. A Federation Scout, 1 money, and the next Federation card you acquire this turn costs 1 less. Then we have a Frontier Tug, which is 2, and shuffle the next base you acquire this turn into your deck. And then Laser Drone, 2/1/2, a Ranger, 1 or 2, Salvage Drone, we know what they do. Then there's a Scout, a Scout, a Scout, a Scout, and a Viper, and a Viper Bot. If you've scrapped a card from your hand or discard pile this turn, gain 3 damage. So that's a total of 5 damage possible. Coalition Efficiency, once per turn. If you would scrap a card from your hand or discard pile, you may choose to gain, looks like 4 authority instead. 5 authority instead. And then we have High Director Vulcan. 6 cards, 62 life. And then Vulcan's Enterprise. Flip this gambit over and put it into play as a base. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, this way. Coalition Stronghold. 2 damage or 2 authority. If this base would leave play, scrap it instead. And it's a 6-point outpost. And then here's the Enterprise as life. And then here we have Mech Command Ship. Machine Cult / Trade Federation ship. You may scrap up to 2 cards from your hand and or discard pile. Gain 3 authority for each card scrapped this way. Draw a card. You may destroy target base. Now we have the Union, which is a blob and the Star Empire. 2 things that work very well together from my time playing Star Realms. Now, the blob's damage output plus the Star Empire's destroy your opponent's hand capabilities is really, really powerful. So not only are you destroying their hand and keeping them from being able to get Mobeta stuff, you're also killing them directly. So we have another Imperial Scout, we have an Imperial Talon, Protopod, Ranger. I like the Ranger. Then we have a Ripper, which is 3 damage. Scouts, we know all about them. Scouts. Scouty, Scouts. We have a Tribute Transport. 2 money or draw a card, then discard a card. A Viper. Okay, McGreedy's Maneuver. 5 damage. And allies and draw a card. Then we have Union Blitz, which gives you 1 damage every time you have a blob or you have a Star Empire card come into play. That is very scary. Let's see here. This also should have a... Yep, it's got a gold symbol. And then we have Hive Admiral McCready. 6 cards in hand and 60 authority. And there's the life. And the major card should be here someplace. Right there. The Meganaut. So 7 damage, draw a card. And then for Blob or Star Empire, draw a card and scrap for 6 damage. Now I notice a lot of these have gold down here. And that gold symbol shows the actual Union symbol, not just Star Realms Frontiers set symbol. Let's get these guys in here, and then we'll get to some of the other packs that I picked up. There we go. Now we have Stellar Allies, which is a special pack that was available during the campaign as an add-on, and I grabbed it. And let's open this up and see what's going on with these guys. There we go. These, the Stellar Allies, I believe are extra cards for all the different allied factions. So you have the alignment bot, that is Star Empire and Machine Cult, to scrap a card from your discard pile or gain how much damage? 2 damage, and target opponent discards a card. And then we have the Citadel. Target opponent discards a card. You may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile. And that's an outpost. We have the Missile Silo with 3 damage, and target opponent discards a card or destroy target. Oh, and destroy target base if you have both of these guys out. That's some scary stuff. We have the Needle Lancer. 5 damage, and copy an ally ability that you've already used this turn. Whew, that is nice. And there's 2 of them in here. And then we have a Pact Pod. It's Federation and Blob, it looks like. Yep. 2 money, 5 damage. 1 more money if you have that. And there's another Pact Pod. And the Pact Warship, which is 5 damage. Destroy target base. And 5 authority. And that's for 4. That's really nice. Then we have the Summit Site. Draw 2 cards. And that's every turn. And then we're back to the alignment bot. So this... Oh. Well, no, there's more cards. So there's another alignment bot. And then there's the Trade Hive, which is Blob and Frontier. 2 money, draw card. And then we have the faction pairs. And it's showing us the different names: Alliance, Coalition, Unity, Union, Alignment, and Pact. And the multicolor symbols above each count as 2 existing Star Realms factions. For example, if you have an Alliance card in play, you may activate any Star Empire or Trade Federation ally abilities. Additionally, alternatively, if you have a Star Empire or Trade Federation card in play, you may activate any Alliance ally abilities. So this is even a better explanation of that. And then we've got a Star Realms United back. Okay, so I just checked, and yes, I do have all the United stuff. It just confused me for a bit because I thought it was part of the campaign. It was an add-on. So I had purchased it earlier. So now we have Star Realms Scenarios, and you notice that there's a cut here. I don't like doing that because I don't want to damage the cards, for one, and for two, it's a lot nicer if you don't have a ripped up side. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get these out. Now these scenarios are a completely different type of card. And here's the rules card. So they change the rules in Star Realms in exciting new ways. So in the Star Realms app, there's a campaign, and each campaign mission has some weird quirk or something about it, such as you start with 40 authority and the opponent starts with 60 and you've got to beat them, or other things. And this has got a different colored border on the back. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these scenarios. So border skirmish. At the start of the game, each player loses 20 authority. Then buyer's market. At the end of each player's turn, place one counter using dice, coins, etc. on the most expensive card or cards in the trade row. Cards cost one less for each counter on them. And so there are a bunch of them. I'm not going to talk about what they all do. Let it be like a surprise for you. But there are a whole bunch of them, which is going to make Star Realms even more dynamic and replayable. And that's not including all the multiplayer variants and all the cards from the previous two sets and their expansions. There's a lot to be had in this game, and I'm not done opening stuff yet. Let's get this stuff back in here. So I'm going to get a whole new sleeve type for this. What I generally do is I have purple sleeves for the gambits, and I've got a light blue sleeve for all my Star Realm stuff. This is probably going to be something else entirely. So I also have Star Realms Season 5 to 8 promos. I don't know exactly how many promos I have. I know I've got a couple. And I wanted to get as many variations of the cards as possible. Now, unfortunately, this is really not super useful, but we'll have it. But everything is a set thing down here. So we've got a Bounty Hunter for 5, 7 damage, and 5 authority. Cargo Mech. For 5, you get 4 money, and you may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile and destroy target base. Then we have Federal Transport. For 2, you get 1 money and 5 authority, and you get 2 money as an ally. Another Federal Transport. Imperial Smuggler. 3 damage, draw a card, then discard a card, and scrap it for 2 money. Another one. And then Night Star. 6 damage. If an opponent has a base in play, gain an additional 4? 3. And then you can draw a card. Then we have the Probe Bot. You may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile, draw a card, scrap it for 3 damage, and you get 1 money out of it. And again, another Probe Bot. A Stellar Array, which is 3 money and draw a card, 6 damage when you scrap it. A War Kite, 5 damage and destroy target base to scrap. Another War Kite. That's not too bad. And then we're back to the Bounty Hunter. So those are all the year 5 to 8 promos. And let me tell you, I have another pack of cards to go. This is the Star Realms Frontiers Kickstarter promos. So let's go ahead and open those up. These were only available through the Kickstarter. I don't know if they'll be available as purchased separately later. That will have to be something you look at some point. But let's take a look and see what we have. So, a note from Rob Dougherty. Thank you, backers, for an incredible Kickstarter campaign. As a thank you for your patience and support, we've added a few extra promo cards. 2 powerful backing, and 1 patience rewarded. Thank you again, and I hope you have as much fun playing these Star Realm sets as we had making them. So on the back we have a Kickstarter promo pack instructions, and we have docking. If a ship returns to your hand with docking, it does so after you draw your hand, so you will enter your turn with an extra card. We have Midgate Station. If you discard 0 cards with this primary ability, you choose to gain 1 money or 1 damage. Scrap discard ally abilities. Like any ally abilities, these trigger when you have another card of their faction in play, but you choose if and when to use this ability once it has been triggered. So, if you don't want to scrap the card, just don't use the ally ability. Powerful backing. The player currently taking their turn counts as having 2 extra cards of each faction in play that turn for triggering their ally and double ally abilities. Then patience rewarded. Like with all cards where each player makes a choice, start with the player currently taking their turn and proceed clockwise. So those are special Kickstarter promo pack rules. Alright, we have the Assimilator. 7 damage. 5 money or 8 damage. You may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile. Scrap this card from play. Move a card from an opponent's discard pile to yours. That is awesome. Okay. We have the Assur 4. 5 authority, 2 money, and draw a card. Then we have a Blockade Runner. Discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. Scrap this card from play, draw a card. Target opponent discards a card. And those are only 1. Wow. There's a bunch of Blockade Runners. Cargo Rocket. 3 authority, 2 damage, and 1 money. Scrap this card from play. Put the next ship you acquire this turn on top of your deck. So that's Cargo Rocket. There we go. And then we've got a Converter. Whenever you scrap a card from your hand or discard pile, gain, is that 1 damage or gain 2 damage? This is an outpost, by the way. Scrap a card from your hand. Scrap a card from your discard pile. Oh, and I flipped it upside down. I should just look at the back of the cards, huh? So Freight Raft, 2 and 4 authority. Trade Federation, docking. During the discard phase, if you have a Trade Federation base in play, set this card aside. At the end of the draw phase, return it to your hand. That is an awesome ability. I like that. Demolisher. 6 damage and draw a card. Scrap this card from play, draw 2 cards. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Talk about hand control. Imperial Defender. Draw a card. Star Empire docking. During the discard phase and blah 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 blah. You know what that means. So it goes back to your hand at the end of the turn. And then we have Midgate Station. Discard a number of cards. Gain money or attack equal to the number of cards discarded plus 1. Target opponent discards a card and draw a card. Wowzers. Then we have the Plague Pod. 2. Scrap this card. Then from play, then gain 4 damage. Another Plague Pod. Another Plague Pod. A Recycle Bot. 1. You may scrap a card from your hand. Scrap this card from play. Scrap a card from your hand or discard pile. You got a couple of Recycle Bots. A Sentinel. 5 damage. Blob docking. So, you know, it does. If you've got a base in play of blob type, you can just put this back into your hand. A Spawning Worm. 8. You may destroy target base. Scrap this card from play. Gain 5. Gain 8 damage. 16 damage for 7. Okay, Swarming Point, which is 3, 3, and 3. So up to 9 damage from this guy. Temple Guardian, 2 or 4, and it's a machine cult docking. Got a couple of Temple Guardians. The Colossus, 10 damage. Choose a faction as you play the Colossus. The Colossus has that faction. Draw a card for each card of that faction you have in play, including the Colossus. Oh my. That is one beautiful card. And then we get back to the trade envoys, which 3 money, 5 authority, draw a card, and then scrap this card from play, put the next ship or base you acquire this turn into your hand. Very nice. So we have an event, mobilization. Each player may look at the top 4 cards of their deck, put any number of these cards into their discard pile, then put the remaining cards back on top of their deck in any order. Really nice. Another event, patience rewarded. Each player may scrap a card in the trade row, then set it aside. For the rest of the game, players may acquire the card they set aside as if it were in the trade row. That is nice. Powerful backing. The player currently taking their turn gains money. 2 Machine Cult, 2 Stellar Empire, 2 Trade Federation, and 2 Blob, 2 Star Empire. Each other player gains 5 authority. This is scary. Powerful backing again. Recon mission. Each player may acquire an explorer for free and put it in their hand. Really nice. A couple of recon missions. Super Flare. Each player shuffles their discard piles into their deck, then draws a card. Supply Run. Each player may either acquire an explorer for free and put it on top of their deck, or put a card from their discard pile on top of their deck. That is nice as well. Tactical Maneuver. The player currently taking their turn chooses to gain either 2 money or 4 damage. Yep. Each other player chooses either to gain 6 authority or draw a card. Yep. That's what it is. We got 2 tactical maneuvers. Wormhole. Each player may either put a card from their discard pile into their hand or draw a card. And there we have it. The entirety of the Kickstarter promo deck, which I'm really happy they gave us. It pays to back, and it pays to be patient and not cancel your order. So we'll get this back. This is not wanting to go in there, so just set that aside. Set these guys down safely. Because we also have a Star Realms deck box. And this is plastic. It's made by Legion. And let's go ahead and get this sliced open with the knife of face maiming. Here we go. Alright. It's a flip box. It holds 1 sleeved base set. So, it's neither here nor there. Let's open this guy up. How do you open it? Oh, it's got Velcro. And it opens like so. Inside, you've got a divider, which is nice. 2 dividers. And you have a promo card. This promo card is Mercenary Garrison. For Star Empire, you get 2 damage. For Trade Federation, 3 authority. For Machine Cult, scrap a card from your hand or discard pile. And for Blob, scrap up to 2 cards currently in the trade row. Really nice. That's what I got it for, the promo. So, this is a little dusty inside, but you open it up and you can see it's got a space for a standard sleeve deck, and when you put it together, they just slide into each other like this. So when you open it up, one is face up like this, the other one is on the side. And I got it because I didn't have one of these, and I thought it'd be cool to have it. And I get wonderful divider cards that I can use. for my game. Alright, so that's that. We have this guy here, which is a Star Realms long box, which I've got a longer box than this that I hold all my current cards in. This is also produced by Legion, just so you're aware. Unfortunately, I did not get a playmat, which I really would have loved to have had. So we'll go ahead and get this plastic wrap off here. I know how you all like hearing that sound. And it's also a nice visceral feeling to rip the plastic off of something. So this box contains 1 limited promo card, 240 sleeves, and 4 dividers. Let's go ahead and open it up. I did not know it came with sleeves. So here we go. We've got 1 divider. We've got a Merc Battle Cruiser. That's the promo. 6 damage, draw a card. Choose a faction as you play Merc Battle Cruiser, and it has that faction. So we'll set that over here, nice and safe. Here are the sleeves. I'll take a look at that in a second and see what the quality is. And then we have another divider. These are cardboard. The other ones were plastic. Another divider. And here is the 4th divider. And these packs are all, they're 50 per pack. So I think they might be premium. But inside there you can see it's got a lot of room. I don't know how if I'll be using this, because I've got something even better. So let's go ahead and put these guys back in here. Set this down, and let's take a look at the quality of these. Now, Star Realms are 8.5, not 8.5, they're 63.5 by 88 millimeters in size. And let's see here. Here's the sleeve, there's the back, here's the front, and they're not quite 90 microns. I think they're probably somewhere in between, probably 70 or 80. They're definitely not standard size sleeves. And we go ahead and put this guy in here. Come on. So there we go. Slide it in. And it looks nice in the sleeve. It's smooth, it's not matte. And the Star Realms logo on the back is not transparent. Unless you have light in there, then you could probably see. But the card slips in nice and easy. And pretty nice sleeves. I am probably going to use these for something. Maybe I'll use them for the scenarios. And maybe scenarios and gambits. So that I can have those in just... Well, gambits have information on the backs. I'm going to have to see about that. So I'll probably have to go to clear sleeves for that. So we'll put those in there. And now, the big guy. Let's put this on the floor so things don't topple. Yes, I said the big guy. I got the Universal Storage Box. That's right, the Universal Storage Box. Now, one of the reasons why I am doing this unboxing now is partly due to most of the stuff you see over here. I have been taking games off of my shelves, and you can see them over here too, so that I can put in a new set of shelves that have more space and are deeper, and I'll be able to put my games up in a more organized fashion, and be able to rearrange my office a little bit so that I have more room to move around. Oh, plastic is gone. So this guy, the Universal Storage Box. This box will hold your entire Star Realms collection, with or without sleeves, with room to spare for future sets and even a playmat. Use the included foam blocks to hold your cards firmly in place. The high-quality plastic dividers included will allow you to separate your cards by set and or have a deck ready to play with dividers for trade deck, explorers, personal decks, and scorecards. For use with the Star Realms deck building game. Contents: a 15-card promo and token set, 30 plastic dividers, and 6 foam blocks. So let's open this up. I believe this is also... No, it was designed by White Wizard Games. It is not a Legion product. Or maybe it is a Legion product and White Wizard Games got the license to put only their logo on it. I am unsure. Okay, so we get this all opened up. Nice, deep, thick box. Wowzers. Alright, so I'm going to pull out these guys, and we're going to look at this, and it is made to hold sleeved cards. And these are foam blocks to keep them from getting damaged. And as you can see, the cards slide in like this. And there's enough room for sleeves, so that is good. Alright, so that's the box. And I did get this so that I could put all my Star Realm stuff in it. And that would also allow me to ensure that I had more room for stuff, because I've got boxes and boxes of Star Realm stuff. It'd be nice if I had that all in one box, like my Munchkin stuff and all that, and I don't have to worry about it. So here are the promo cards. And we've got a Brooder, which is 6 damage, and put a random pod token into play. Hatch a pod token. I wonder where these tokens are. We'll find out. A Brooder again. And then we've got Embassy Transport. 3 monies and 3 authority. Draw a card for each base you have in play. When you scrap it, that's not bad. Then we have an Orbital Crane. 2 monies, and you may return target base to its owner's hand. I like cards like these. Then draw a card. And there's 2 Orbital Cranes. Then we have a Recovery Mech. 5 damage. You may put a card from your discard pile on top of your deck. Excellent. A Recovery Mech. I think that's what we just went over. Yep. And then we have Mutant Drone. Acquire a card of cost 2 or less for free and put it into your hand. When this card leaves play, return it to the pod token pile. Oh, that's a token. There we go, that's a token. And here's a pod token. When this card leaves play, return it to the pod token pile. If this pod token didn't come into play this turn, it hatches. And then you flip it over to this lovely beast, the Mutant Drone. And then here's another one. If it didn't come into play this turn, it hatches. And then when you flip it over, you have the Warrior Drone, which is 3 damage. When this card leaves play, return to the pod token pile. And then we have another Warrior Drone, and another Warrior Drone, and a Worker Drone. So this guy here, yep, flip it over, and then you get 2 money, and when it leaves play, return it to the token pile. And then we have another Worker Drone and a Young Queen, which allows you to draw 2 cards, and it goes to the token pile after it leaves play. Because this stays in play, this will go away at the end of your turn, and this pod will hatch. And the Brooder, these Brooders are what make all those pods. So there's that. Those are the promos. And then the last thing we have are the plastic dividers for ye old Universal Big Box. And these are heavy. There are a lot of them. And they're in a baggie. So we have Crisis Heroes. We have the Unity, Lost Fleet, the Coalition, Universal Storage Box cards, which I just looked through. Then we have Crisis Fleets. And then we have the Gambit. We have the Pact. We have just unaligned cards. We have the Colony Wars base set. We have Crisis Events. We have Crisis Bases. We have the Union. We have the Alignment. We have the Alliance. We have United Heroes. We have Scorecards. We have the Trade Deck. We have United Missions. We have Explorers. We have Promos. We have Star Realms, the original set. We have United Assault. We have Personal Decks. We have Frontiers. We have Scenarios. Stellar Allies. United Command. Promo Set 1. Gambit. And then we're back to the heroes. So, yes, I have all those now. All of those. I think this empty one here, this blank one, is for certain unaligned cards that you have. These are really heavy. They are really nice. and they're the same on both sides. So you can see there's personal decks and personal decks. And the artwork is fantastic. It's the artwork from each of the different sets and everything. So that was a lot, a ginormous amount of unboxing for Star Realms Frontiers, designed by Darwin, Kastle, and Robert Dougherty, and published by White Wizard Games. If you like this video and like to see more, please leave a like. If you really like this video and you want to see a lot more, please subscribe. And as always, this is Excalibur, and I am out. I'd like to thank my new patron, Gabby, who, well, she's not really new, but I'm finally giving her the shout out that I promised. Thank you very much for your support on Patreon, Gabby. It is much appreciated. And if anybody else wants to become a patron of mine, please go ahead and visit www.patreon.com/ExcaliburZone and see what all the hubbub is about. Are you done spinning yet, fan? Thank you.